Are you ready for this?
Well, hello, how are we all getting on? Welcome to another Only Fools Live. So I was going to do a video, obviously, about the development story this afternoon, as you can see on the screen there, about Granit Xhaka. But I just thought it would probably be easier for to do a live where you can all, stick your comments in and we'll get involved and have a bit of a discussion. If you don't mind doing, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 5k subs. And doing these lives will hopefully help. There's 12 in the watching so far, so thank you very much for everybody who's tuned in. I know it's a little bit early, but I know the Women's Euros is on tonight, so I just thought I'd do it before 8 o'clock, before it kicked off, just in case anybody wanted to jump on and watch before that starts. But as you've probably seen this afternoon, then the Granit Xhaka kind of developments that came this afternoon, the video I did last week, where we thought it was dead in the water. Looked as though there was rumours that he wanted to stay in Germany. His family didn't want to move, didn't want to leave there. But then out of the blue, there was rumours late last night and early this morning that there's been a bit of a turnaround, that he was open to a move to the Premier League. And he certainly, it's not the case that he doesn't want to move and his family doesn't want to move either. And then this afternoon, it turns out we've agreed a 3-year deal with him. We're now in advanced negotiations with Leverkusen to make that deal permanent. Massive signing. I just hope that Leverkusen didn't price us out of that move. He's told them that he wants to move to Sunderland. He said that he wants to come. Well, now that he's under contract till 2028. So are they going to want some stupid money for him when he's 32? But like I said in previous videos, I think he's got probably 2-3 good years in him. Easy. He's kept himself fit. Won the Bundesliga 2 years ago with them. There's people saying, why does he want to leave? Maybe it's because, Xabi Alonso has left. Eric Ten Hag's in there now. Maybe, he doesn't fancy playing under Ten Hag. From what I've read on social media, we're kind of getting reports that the project at Sunderland excites him. He wants to come and do well and wants to come back to the Premier League and prove a point. So for me, this would be our signing of the window, no doubt about it. 130 odd games, but he might have made that for Arsenal. He won everything. He was there rocking midfield. Now people say he's a bit of a hothead and his disciplinary record isn't the best. I've just been looking before I came on there, and his last red card, I think, was 2021, 2022, when he got sent off for Arsenal against Burnley. So, he's had 8 red cards for 3 years, so he's got that under control. Yes, he's still got the bite, and yes, he's still got that, aggressive streak in him, but he seems to have getting that temper and that recklessness under control, and now he's a better player for it. So, I'll read the comments out in a minute because I can see there's 7 in there already. But like I say, we'll discuss that one first. The Xhaka one, massively important for us to get that one over the line, I think. Now, also on the screen there, you can see the other two, John Lukumi, that rumours today that he's torn between a move to Sunderland, but he said he wants to come and prove himself in the Premier League. But again, it all depends on the club. And then we've also got Bilal El Khanouchi there from Leicester. Apparently, we're still in negotiations with Leicester about him. Midfield playmaker. Like you see, if you haven't seen previous videos where I've discussed him, he's a one of them that he's shown in a bad side last year. He looked decent from what I've seen of him, and in a better side, could he even improve again? And I have signed quite a few players in that area, but with the injury to Remain Mundle, which we'll touch on a little bit later. And we'll also look at the 2 pre-season friendlies as well that we've just played in Portugal. But we'll have a look in the comments and see what we've got in there. So Steve SM, evening Wayne, what a signing that would be. Best newcomer this pre-season. Like I've just been saying, Steve, I think it'd be a massive, and just to be even linked with a player of Granit Xhaka's kind of quality just shows you how far we've come. And now for a chance to actually get that deal done, and he actually wants to come to us. When has a player ever said he only ever wants to come to Sunderland? It's never been known for a good while, I would have thought. But it's great to see. Really is great to see. Steve and Ollie Shaw finally made it to a live show. Hiya, Steve. Welcome, mate. Pleased you made it. Steve and Martin, if this comes off well, yep, totally agree. Banks and Bell. So Banks and Bell, our moderator there. Evening, Banks and Bell. Hope you're all right. Hope you've had a good day. Jerry, little Joella Wright. Love it. How are the lads? Come on. Granite, I'm well chuffed. Sunderland till I die. Great comments there, mate. Great comments. T-Mac, evening, Wayne. Interesting times, eh? Interesting to say the least. It's... I keep on saying it. I still think I'm in a dream. I still, can't believe that we've spent that money. We're spending this money. We're linked with these type of players, and fair play to Christian Speakman and Kira Louis Drivers for making me eat massive chunks of humble pie. And I love to be proved wrong. Like I've said many times on this show, that's what it's all about. It's about opinions, and I'm just absolutely buzzing that we're actually, linked with these players and we're getting these players over the line. Nebo says Truel. Stephen Ollie, if we can get Lukumi and another centre back in, and hopefully Suarez and a goalkeeper, then we really stand a chance. Like I say, we've now got that midfield sorted. If we get this done, we just need to get them centre backs in. We'll touch on the friendlies in a little bit, where Seal's done well, I thought, in the 2 games, but is he realistically going to get a look in the Premier League? So we need to strengthen them the centre back areas. We still need a massively strong and proven centre forward, which we'll touch on that a little bit later. Mason Smith, it's difficult to fully comprehend how significant this signing is. I agree with you, Mason. It's massive, absolutely massive. John Ruddick, hiya, John. Sorry I missed your call earlier on, matey, but I was at work. But looks like Neil will be sold, maybe Rig. I didn't know. I think Neil and Rig are probably going to be limited for game time now if we get Xhaka as well. We've got to fit Xhaka, Diarra and Siddiqui into that midfield and Lafia, so somebody's going to miss out. So it'll likely be Neil and Rig. So they might say their future elsewhere. They might want to stop and fight for the place and prove a point. So interesting one. John W. Xhaka's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I totally agree, John. It's one of them where if he's available, he wants to come, just go and get the deal done. Unless like Leverkusen are wanting stupid money for him, at 32, but it's a no-brainer. Just go and get it done. Mark Taylor will be our best signing so far. Yeah, 100% agree. Steve's back in there. Lamens, Diakite, Lukumi, Mikwatadze. Wow, that will get all, but how good is it just to be linked with this quality? Aye, just what we've been saying, a few minutes ago there, Steve. It's unbelievable. That Diakite one, I would love to get him, but I think Bournemouth were quoted something like 40 million euros, wasn't there? And I didn't know if we pushed the boat up to that far. I know it doesn't seem beyond us at this moment in time where we're spending money like whatever, but if we get Diakite and Lukumi, 2 rocks at the centre half, Mikwatadze against quality, really is quality in it, but I'd love us to get him. And Lamens, the goalkeeper, another strong one, big reputation, big strong keeper. Belgium, so if we can get him again, imagine if we got all them, what type of side would we have if we got them 4 or 5? Doesn't bear thinking about, really. Viv 73, an exciting time to be a Sunderland supporter. It certainly is. I'm so excited now for the start of the season. I really cannot wait. Wayne Hutchinson there. Good evening, Wayne. Hello, namesake. How are you? Hope you're well, matey. Chris Carter Jackson, hope we do get him, but Regis Labrie has a job on his hands, keeping people in line. Happy days, though. Right, it's a one where we're now going to have that nice problem of where we fit them all in, and we know our players are not going to play every week. Xhaka's 32. He might not play every week, but I think he still played 30 or 40 games last season, so it just shows he's still fit. But it's a nice problem to have. In the Premier League, you've got to have a big squad. You're going to have players picking up injuries. You're going to have players suspended. AFCON, like we've said, coming up in December, January. So we've got to have that big squad to cope with these issues when they arise. Wayne's back in there, so it's a 4-5-1. I didn't know, mate. It could be a 4-3-3. You know, could be a 2-7, whatever. You know, the way we're signing players. Hello, Thean. Thean's in there. You're all right, mate? Yes, I'm good, mate. Hope you are. We've had a good day. Steve, I've supported Sunderland since 1969. I've never seen Sunderland spend money like this, and the quality of players. It's never been on, is it? And like I say, I keep on saying it over and over again, but what a time to be a Sunderland fan, and fair play to them for having a right good go. You know, I think we've spent £107 million so far. That's before we get Xhaka, so absolutely unbelievable. Stephen Ollie's back in there. Xhaka coming in could help encourage the other targets we have come to Sunderland as well. That's a big point and a good point. You know, if other players say the likes of Xhaka coming to Sunderland, then it does prove a point. It's a massive statement, and it can only benefit the club. Can only benefit the club moving forward for other targets that we're trying to attract. Thean's back in there. Xhaka will be our best signing since Defoe, in my opinion, because of experience and pedigree. I would probably tend to agree with you. In recent times, Defoe stood out as one of the best ones, didn't he? And I agree. Just that reputation, just the quality, the leadership. He's been there, done it at the highest level with Arsenal. You can't get any higher than that, you know. And fair play to him for wanting to come as well and wanting to prove a point. Michael Batty, Xhaka. Loriente will be kicking himself, and I hope he sacks his agent. Well, we'll have a discussion about Loriente in a minute. That's kind of just shows you how influential agents are, and sticking the nose in and just trying to get the best for themselves, and not for the people they're supposed to be representing. They've done him out of a top move, so it's a frustrating one for him. But fair play to the club for standing up and not putting up with the shit. Thean and Bulker for choosing money over international career and ambition. So Bulker's the one that could have come here, and look where he went. And now he's getting £10 million a year. But in the same token, Xhaka could have went into the same team, Nimes, and he's turned it down, didn't want to go there. So again, that to me says he feels he can still play at the top level, and he's still got something to offer. And Paul P says, good evening, Wayne. The team is going to look so different with all the signings. Do you think we still have our identity and togetherness, or will the changes in players affect the connections? I think Regis Lebris was actually talking after one of the games in Portugal to say he's impressed with how the kind of togetherness has been and how well the new signings have gelled in. And now we've got some local lads, Dan Neil, Chris Riggin, what have you, local lads in the team. I don't think it'll affect it too much. I have said in previous videos that at this level, you can't really let your heart rule your head. You know, you've got to be realistic, and if you want to perform and you want to stay up, you've got to be ruthless. And if Regis Lebris doesn't see these players, the local lads, as good enough to play, then unfortunately, that's just the way it'll be. Luke O'Nine's another one. His injury has probably come at the wrong time. He's going to miss the start of the season. Chances are we're going to have 2-3 new players that are going to be ahead of him in the team before he gets fit. Same with Dennis Certain. You know, if Huggins can stay fit, we've got Ryan Aildor. I think Huggins Certain could possibly end up third choice as left back. So unfortunately, like I say, it's not nice for them players, but I think for us it's exciting times, and I think it has to be done. If you want to stay up, you've just got to do these type of things. John's back in there and said it's a shock. I never thought they would spend money like this. Didn't he get a loan off his mum? Well, I think that was the rumour. He might have his own money now, John. I'm not too sure. I think he's 24 now, or something. So he might have come into that money himself, and he's gone on a right out spending spree where it's so long may it continue. And I cannot wait. Just can't wait for that first game of the season against West Ham. Mason Smith's back in there. If Xhaka does sign, do you think that's the midfield sorted? Well, I think so, but I've just on the screen there, you can see that we're still linked with this Canusi from Leicester. He plays in the same type of players as Talby and Dingra. Can play in the middle, of course, as well, where Lafayette plays. So I don't know. I didn't actually know what we're kind of trying to achieve in midfield. Why we're suddenly stockpiling midfielders is a reason for it. I'm guessing to have quality on the bench is just as important as having quality on the pitch as well. So it all bodes well for the future, Mason. It all bodes well, but I honestly didn't know if that's our midfield sort or not. Steve Nolly's back in there. Things could have been a lot worse. We could have signed Longstaff. I think there was absolutely no chance of Sean Longstaff ever setting foot through them stadium-like gates. T-Mac, I remember when Darren Byfield's agent negotiated him out of the contract with McQuinney. These agents are in it for themselves. I think Darren Byfield's agent done us a favour there, didn't he? But these agents have a lot of themselves. They're only in it for themselves, aren't they? We're seeing that with Jack Clark. Ian Hart did possibly the same with him. I got in his ear, just wanted that move for him, not so much as Jack Clark. And Jack Clark, I think Jack Clark suffered by going to Ipswich. He's back in the Championship. There isn't any Premier League teams being linked with him since he's been relegated. So it just shows you that he's done himself no favours. If he stopped with us, he'd have still been, one of the main players last season. And who knows what he would have been now? He'd have been a Premier League player with us. So, but that him leaving did obviously progress Remain Mundle. Steve, I said with losing Loriente, we're still needing another wide player, especially with Mundle being out, so you could possibly be right. Tim the Minion, how you mate? Good evening, winning everyone. Top signing, exactly the experience we need, but not sure we need another attacking midfielder, although Alexic looks short of quality at present for the Premier League. I think Alexic should be one that goes out on loan or he'd be sold permanent. The kid's never had a look in since he came. He should have gotten more game time last season, in my opinion, but he didn't. Maybe Lebris just doesn't fancy him, doesn't think he's good enough. But I don't think he'd be anywhere near the first team if he's still here next season. But I think he'd be a one that goes out on loan. There has been rumours of him getting it back home on a loan deal, isn't there, from what I've seen. Richard Waite, to be fair, they already look like they are gelling. Only Talby looks a bit off the pace if Xhaka signs. That's an awesome statement of intent. And Canusi can play the wings. Yep, good shout. We'll touch on Talby in a minute. Michael Ridley, these are exciting times. Go back a year till now when the change is amazing. Can't wait for the start of the season. Dare to dream. 100%, Mickey, 100%. Mason, if Jack Clark stayed on, then Watson might not have broke through into the first team. We might not have gotten to Wembley, Mason, and the rest is history. And Tony Huntington's in there. Unfortunately, losing our local lads will affect cohesion. Just hope it's better. We'll see any cracks when it gets tough, and that's when the crowd will be important. Good shout, the crowd will be massively important this season. There was a lot of talk of the atmosphere last year, but it been quite, especially towards the end of the season, when there's pretty much nothing to play for. But we are going to be massively important, especially when there's tough games at home, and sticking with the lads and getting behind them and just doing the best we can. So good shout. 95 people watching. Thank you very much. That's really, really class. I never thought there would have been that much. Would have been an early one. So 95 people watching. Thank you very much. 35 likes already. Can we get to 50 likes? We smashed it last week on the Friday night show. So absolutely buzzing with that. Gen X Live, quick one. We're building a squad that can finish 17th, maybe even the dizzy heights of 16th, then strengthen again next summer. Well, Gen X 17th would do me just fine. If we survive by one goal on the last day of the season, that'll do me for next season. Like you say, then you build from there. That's next season is all about survival. That's all it is. All it is. Terry Artis just put a comment there saying a salary £5.2 million a year. Well, if that's true, then that's quite a lot. Will that disrupt the wages of what lads are already getting paid? We'll have to wait and see. But 5.2 does seem like quite a hefty sum. And Stephen Ollie says, I think Siddiqui will be outstanding going off pre-season showings. I'll tell you what, we'll have a look at pre-season now, shall we? We'll touch on, the midfield that I've been really impressed with. The two games that we've played. I'm not going to really talk about the Gateshead games and the South Shields games, but the two games in Portugal. So Sevilla at the weekend, the first half, I thought we were really, really good. That midfield three, for probably the first time they've played together, looked really, really good. Diarra and Siddiqui all over the pitch, good, strong on the ball with Lafia, kind of floating in that number 10 role, but was kind of given license to roam across that front three. And I think it worked really well. They pressed high, a lot of energy. And like I say, for being the first game, they were absolutely, absolutely fantastic. The second half against Sevilla, we changed the full team. And some of them young lads who come on looked all right. They're obviously they're not going to get anywhere near the first team. But it's great experience for them for their development. And also Jensen Seelt. There's been a lot of rave reviews about Jensen Seelt over the last few games, and I thought Jensen Seelt against Sevilla was absolutely class. He looks strong. He looks like he's getting fit. He looks like he's a big, strong lad, big commanding centre half, but he's good on the ball for a big lad as well. He's got good feet, and he played well alongside Dan Ballard. Simon Moore in goal, I thought did quite well as well. Didn't really do out wrong. Just a shame we couldn't hold on to that win, if you like. Doesn't really matter. That was a great workout. But like I said, the first half signs were really, really good. Like being mentioned in the chat there earlier on, Chemsedine Talby was the only one probably looked a little bit off the pace, whether that's fitness or he's still kind of getting used to the lads. He didn't really do much. Adingra was the same. Showed some nice touches, but didn't really get in the game. But honestly, it's the first game. You're not going to worry about that on the first game. It's all about fitness, and that's what these pre-season games are for. It's about getting the gelling, getting the cohesion right. Getting the team togetherness ready for that first game. So overall, Seville unlucky to win, lucky not to win. I think they put quite a few of their best players on the second half. Ruben Vargas is a very, very good player who scored the equaliser. But all in all, it was a really, really good showing. Abdullahi, second half came on. I should have wrapped it up. When he did the hard part near the end of the game, when he beat his man, ran through, and instead of shooting and putting the bottom net, he tried to give it to Isidore and totally messed it up, and the chance went begging, and then they went down and equalised. But Abdullahi's another one who looks a unit. He gives me so many Kenwyn Jones vibes. It's unbelievable. He just got that kind of presence about him, and I think he might be probably one that stands out on loan. I think a loan will probably deem good, depending, of course, who we sign. Because Mayenda missed a sitter. He also missed a sitter again on last night as well. But it's only pre-season. And then obviously we then played Sporting yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday as well, blended into one. So last night, we got beat 1-0 off the Portuguese champions. A Champions League team they are. And we were the better side. We were the better side. Even the second half, I thought we did really well with all them young lads. Apart from the goal, Blondie Nagui didn't have nothing to do, hardly. Yes, it was his fault for the goal. A ball over the top, we get caught out down the left-hand side. He comes out, gets caught in no man's land. He makes the attacker's mind up for him, squares it, and then they score. But that was the only thing that he did was pick the ball out of the back of the net. Diarra had a good chance to score. Talby had a good chance to score. Mayenda should have scored, when it was when the fear crossed it in. So, I'm more than happy. Could not be more happy with that. That was an improvement from Saturday's game, that against Sporting. Unreal performance, really, when you on the grand scheme of things when you see it. So the signs are really, really positive, for this midfield. Like I say, we've just been talking there about if we do get Xhaka, where does he fit in? Does that mean that potentially Chemsen Talby doesn't play on the right and Lafia, or is it more of a fluid midfield where Siddiqui or Diarra might move out there? Who knows? Or does one of Diarra or Siddiqui miss out for Xhaka? Do we, like we've just been said, do we play a 5 in midfield? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. We'll quickly go back to the comments. 100 watching. 52 likes. We've smashed that. 50 likes. Thank you very much. Buzzing. Let's see if we can get to 100 now. Get on. See if we can do it. Where we are with the comments. So, Tony Hunton, back to work. Enjoy the show, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like. Cheers, Tony. Appreciate it, mate. Hope work doesn't go too bad. John Ruddock, this seems to have started when they brought this new Sporting director in. I think he's got a lot to do with it, John. Gisolfi, I think he's had a massive part to play in the Xhaka deal. Massive part to play. He's highly rated. He's got a big reputation in Europe. So, and that's more fair play to the club that they've brought him in. He wants to come in and prove a point as well. We've got these new assistants and all. So the signs are all good. Jim N, Siddiqui, next in goal, Kante. I agree. He kind of gives you them vibes, doesn't he? He's little, strong, powerful. He's all over the pitch, can put a tackle in. So I agree. Steve's back in there. There's been talks from Red and White Army regarding the atmosphere at the Stadium of Light. Does anyone think renaming the North Stand the Fulwell end and turning this into the Singing end 9,000 home fans together. Might not be a bad idea. I know there is talk of moving, the away fans back down to the lower bowl next season, which I'd probably be pissed off at because I sit in that lower bowl, which I'll not be happy if I've got to move because I've got 2 cracking seats down there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I know there is talks of bringing them back down. I know what you mean about the atmosphere, but we'll have to see how this season goes, I suppose, with the atmosphere. And if it doesn't improve, then they might implement that for the start of the season after, depending on what league we are in, of course. John's back in there. The spending seems to be down to this new football director yet, just been seeing. Tim the Minion, I watched the Leeds Man United unfriendly at the weekend, and if Man United keep hammering for the full season, we'll finish above them. We showed our lack of backup in both games, but liked Zach Johnson's performance. Zach did alright when he came on as well. I think Harrison Jones, left back didn't do too bad either. He'll not be playing there, but he did alright. He kind of slotted in there. Man United are massively struggling. They're going to have a really, really bad season, I think, and I'll be surprised if Amarin lasts the season, if I'm honest. Richard Waite, Jensen Seal seems to have filled out and grown, and hopefully he's getting better, but done nothing wrong for me. Him and Abdullah High look promising. I agree with you. The Seal started them 2 pre-season games probably because we've got any other centre half to play there at the moment with Alicia, Yelda, Luke O'Neill all out injured. But he's done that wrong. I've been impressed in the 2 games, and long may it continue. I thought Triantis might have started last night, but Triantis played the second half, and Triantis didn't do too bad either. But we know Triantis has been playing in midfield for Hibs. I'd like to see him play there in probably one of the games. I mean, he's got the midfielders that were signed. He's got no chance of playing there probably. But fair play to him that he's come out and said he wants to prove himself, and he wants to prove to Regis Lebris that he wants to be part of the squad. John's back in there. I like the look of all the new lads I've seen up to now, and I think Siddiqui runs on Duracell. I think he's definitely got rechargeables in there, I think. Steve Nolly, we have the chance creation in the team now, just need a prolific striker to put them away. I agree, Steve. I think Mienda, you've heard me talking about Mienda in recent videos and last week, that I do think Mienda will surprise a few people next season, given the players around him. He might miss a few, he might miss more than he scores, but I can't see him getting the double figures next year. I know he's missed 2 sitters in pre-season, but it's only it's rustiness, that's all. Please don't put Enzo on the wing. Exactly, Chris. If he's there, he's not in the game. We might as well sell him if we're going to play him on the wing. He's definitely not a winger. We've seen in the 2 pre-season games where we're playing him, he's much more effective. He gets on the ball, and you can see he enjoys playing there. Tim the Minion says play with a back 3. Possibly that's an option. I don't think we probably will do it. That's kind of like a complete system change for Regis Lebris. We played that kind of 4-1-3-1, didn't we, last season? 4-2-3-1 sometimes, and I kind of see us moving away from that. I know you've got to be adaptable in the Premier League, which we're going to have to be. When you're playing up against teams like City, Arsenal, and the like, you're going to have to be defensive and play a counter-attacking football. When you're playing the teams around you, like the first game of the season, West Ham, you're going to have to try and win the game and be a bit more on the front foot. So we're going to have that flexible formation where we can kind of moving between the 2 or 3 different formations, which a back 3 could possibly be an option, and then use Trey Hume and Ryan Aildo as wing backs. Definitely could be an option. Stephen Ollie, the away I don't think will move. I'm a steward in the away end. Right. Maybe you've heard I'm not going to move, but that's music to my ears. What's the atmosphere? What's the atmosphere like up there, Steve? Is it we didn't really hear the away fans. Some likes of Coventry, when they came up, you could hear them singing all game. But, do you think moving them down would add to the atmosphere? And finally, T-Max is Seal has had 2 good games. The young lads did themselves no harm at all. Good to see, but the Premier League will be too much for them. They need loaning out a decent championship for a season. Coming back from injury as well. I don't know what happened there. Coming back from injury as well. You didn't really want to put them into that kind of atmosphere straight away and put more pressure on them. A season in the championship would probably benefit them massively. If we get the players in that we've probably been linked with, they probably will go out on loan. They're not going to sit on the bench. They're not going to develop them or be any use to them by sitting playing for the under 21. So they're going to have to go out and get game time. So, like I say, Abdullah High, Harrison Jones, another one that did quite well last season, but he might get a loan. And Sealt as well, Yelder, that might all get up on loan depending on who we bring in. Ian Brown says, is Matty not on, mate, so we can rub into Xhaka? No, he's not, mate. There wasn't really a great deal to talk about from the Leeds side, so we decided just to knock that on the net tonight. Plus with the Euros and all, 9:30 might have been a conflict and people might have been watching the Euros, so we're going to be on my channel next week again, where Matty will definitely be on. And there might be a bit more transfer news from them. I know they've just signed that Stack, the one we spoke about last week, and they've signed him today, so there'll probably be another couple of friendlies to play as well, which we can speak about. Coffee Goblin, Granit Xhaka, aye, totally right, mate, totally right. And Izzy B, I get the optimism after promotion, but considering Sunderland need more than just a new first 11, how on earth will you avoid relegation? Well, you're right. You know, to be level-headed, I have been saying this. You know, Leicester spent probably the similar sort of money last season and still struggled massively. But the fact is, we have spent the money and we'll give ourselves a chance. If we hadn't spent the money, I thought we're not on bets to get relegated. You know, we certainly would have been. I think now we've given ourselves a massive chance. Yes, it's still going to be tough, but no, that's still going to be a struggle. But I just think we've got a really, really cracking chance of doing it. You know, I really do think that some other teams in the league might struggle. You know, the last few seasons that the promoted sides have gone straight back down. But if you look at the likes of Burnley, they've lost Thomas Frank, they're losing Wissa, they're losing Mbeumo, they've lost Norgard in midfield, and they've appointed Keith Andrews as manager, which I find really, really strange. So I really can see Brentford struggling massively this season. I think Wolves will struggle this season. You know, they've lost Cunha, lost Nuri at the back, two massive holes in their side. You know, can Forest reproduce what they've done last year? You know, you never know. I mean, look what happened to Leicester. Leicester won the league, and 2 or 3 years later they got relegated. So this league, you never know. I think for us, it's important to get off to a good start. We've got a cracking start where we've got a chance to get points on the board. You know, West Ham, Burnley, Crystal Palace. We've got really a good start to get some points early, and I think it's about momentum. If you hit the ground when you get a few wins on the board, it carries you on through the season. I think if on the flip side of that you get a bad start, then you know, then people will just be saying, "Well, told you so. This is what was going to happen." So we'll have to just wait and see. But I think we'll give ourselves a really, really cracking chance of staying up. I know these players that we've signed have got to gel and they've got to prove a point. But the name mugs, they're not coming here as novices. They've played a lot of games in their respective countries. They've got 100 games. You know, Adingwa's got Premier League experience. Xhaka will be the one that if he comes in, will knit that all together. So we'll have to wait and see. But a good point, Izzy B, a good comment. Kane Joey just subscribed. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Mel Lacey doesn't come up. Mel Lacey, try again. Mel Lacey would be a fantastic signing and must be made captain. Ahmad next. I imagine if we got Ahmad as well, I think Xhaka will be knocking bed for a captain. To be fair, Mason's back in there. To be fair, Leicester lost their manager and their best player in Dewsbury Hall. Either is that, I suppose. Good point. Kyle Cliff, if we went down and spent nothing, I'd be foaming at least for giving it a go. Yeah, totally agree. We are having a right good go, and nobody can fault us. If we do go down, we cannot fault the owners or Speakman and Co. or Golofsky. We've given it a go, and fair play to them. Do you think the signings you made are experienced enough? I've just been saying, they've got to prove a point, haven't they? You know, but by getting the likes of Xhaka in, who's got that experience, will be a great leader and will help these players develop and help them kick on. Adingwa's got Premier League experience. I do still think we need a couple more with experience. I think if we can get, you know, a centre back in with the Premier League experience, a goalkeeper maybe. But when Forest signed all them players a couple of years ago, they went like down that foreign European market and they survived. They just survived mine, but they did it. Steve SM's back in there. If we can't be optimistic after the last 8 years of dross, then when can we be? Exactly. Great comment. Great point. Stephen Ollie, they do make some noise. I think if they were moving away fans with 3 weeks to go, I would have been told that the area I work in has changed. I think they're looking out for next season, aren't they, from what I've been told. But I didn't know. It's just rumours that you hear when you're at the match, isn't it? Ian Brown, Xhaka is the difference between survival and relegation. Must give Leverkusen the money they want. I agree. I think unless it's not stupid money, of course. It's not, if it's not going to be the detriment of our club, then I think we have to really. Richard Waite, things need to change in the Premier, and we are the club to change it. I mean, you know, I'd like to see Leeds stay up, and not just because of, you know, Matty's my good mate of mine, and we're getting quite close on the channel. But I'd like to see the newly promoted side stay up, you know, and indeed for the Championship, and let's see it change. The Premier League for years now has been far too predictable. It was nice to see Forest up there last year and Bournemouth up there last year, challenging, you know, for European football. You know, when you've got the likes of Liverpool and Man City win the league every year, it gets a bit boring. So it's nice, and I hope that this year, I hope the bottom can be a bit more interesting as well. And there's maybe 6 or 7 teams that are going to be fighting relegation, and we'll have our kind of mini competition at the bottom half of the table. So let's hope it pans out that way. Tim the Minion, Forest, Brighton, West Ham, Bournemouth all lost or about to lose their star players, and maybe the Mags. I've heard rumours about Isak apparently wanting 300 grand a week. There you go. Chris Carter Jackson, well, we're guaranteed 6 points against the Barcodes. Well, at least we might give them a better game this time, Chris. You know, the FA Cup game last year was no competition. The trounced us, to be fair. Let's hope this season we can give them 2 good games, and you know, we can kind of shut them up for a year or 2. Steve SM, the consultation will happen throughout the season, ready for implementation 26-27. I think you're right. Ian Brown, must give captaincy to Xhaka. If we get him, his position is the core of the team, so he can communicate with the players easy. That defensive midfield player, you know, just in front of the back four. I didn't realise he was 6'1". I thought he was only like 5'7", 5'8", but he's 6'1". He's not small. I was watching a bit of him on YouTube and all. He can score a goal as well. He scored some caught goals from outside the area as well. So, you know, he's not just about his defensive qualities, but he can also have a great shot. Black Cat 72. We desperately need a keeper and 2 centre backs before we start talking about staying up. You're right. You know, the job's not done yet by any stretch of the imagination. The defensive area is massive. We've seen in the 2 games that we're playing that Sealt and Ballard have started both games. You know, we had Trientis and Zach Johnson playing as cover when them 2 went off, and they've changed the team round. So we do need massively two big centre halves. We know Ballard has got that he's not he's injury prone. You know, he's liable to be out for 3 or 4 or 5 games at a time sometimes. So we do need that goalkeeper. I agree as well. You know, Patterson not played pre-season yet, apart from the games back home. He's missed the 2 Portugal games, and we do need that goalkeeper who can command the area, command the box, and be vocal as well as these big defenders. Kieran Monick, Kieran? Well, Speakman said another 7 signings. Well, I hope he's right. I hope he's right. Kieran Joey, Thean, what happened to your channel? You would answer that one, Thean. Andrew Ross, Eric Ten Hag being quoted as saying Xhaka will be allowed to leave and selling him would be unacceptable. Well, I think, you know, Leverkusen want to keep him, didn't they? You know, it's going to be a massive blow to them, but like, fair play to him wanting to come here. Mason Smith, the prospect of those midfield battles against Newcastle is really interesting. I agree. You know, Joe Linton and the likes. Malcolm's and Malcolm White were all right. Great signing if it comes off, and he makes a huge difference. Hopefully Dan Neil can learn from him. We will have to see if it comes off. The Loriente deal is prime example how things can change. That Loriente one was a kick in the teeth, if you like. We thought the deal was done. But it just shows you how quick, you know, I would agree to deal with him. He actually flew across, so there's a long way to go yet before this deal gets over the line. You know, I still won't believe it until I see him in the shirt or, you know, watching the game at one of the friendlies. So, good comment though, Malcolm. Hope you're all right. And DJ Dave says, hi, mate. Can you imagine 4 years ago talking of where we are now and the calibre of players we are signing? We would have been carted off to the funny farm. You're right, mate. You're totally right. You know, I think I said it in the video on Friday night, you know, 4 years ago. I think we put a bid in of 900,000 for James Vaughan. That just says it all. You know, when you've come from the likes of Kyle McFadzean and them type of players, it's scary to think how quickly we have developed and how far we have come in a short space of time. And again, like I said at the start, they've proved me wrong. You know, I was criticising them last season, thinking they didn't want to go up, but now they've proved me wrong. Big star and long may it continue. You know, I'm quite happy to admit I'm wrong, and I'm quite happy to hold my hands up and say I was wrong. You know, they've come in and done a fantastic job, but it isn't all, you know, sweet as night. There's a long way to go yet. You know, you still kind of be tainted with your red and white glasses on. It is going to be tough next season. Make no bones about it. It is still going to be tough. And it's down to us to kind of stick with the team when we're not going to be winning every game. We know that. You know, we're not winning every week, even though we've signed these players. We just got to stick with them and just expect to lose a few games and expect some tough times, but enjoy the times and just enjoy the Premier League. That's what it's about. 139 watching, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for everybody who's tuning. 139, 70 likes, buzzing, absolutely buzzing with that tonight. Ian Brown, if we don't get Xhaka, we need someone very similar to him who has the same attributes. I'm hoping we've got somebody else lined up just in case that doesn't come off. I know we have been very persistent in getting Xhaka, but I'm guessing they'll have somebody else in the pipeline. You know, it just shows you that the Henderson situation, because Henderson had been mentioned before Xhaka, and the fact that we didn't go for Henderson makes it even more strange if Xhaka wasn't even on the radar then. Because Henderson is a similar type of player, obviously a bit older, but it's an interesting one. Stephen Ollie, I think we dodged a bullet with Loriente. Well, yeah, we didn't know. We're kind of reading between the lines, and just the reports that we're getting that it was because of his agent, like in the contractual situation at the last minute. Did he want more money? Did he want a relegation release clause? That sort of stuff. We just didn't know. You never get to find out the full story, I suppose, but was it him? Was it his agent? The fact is, the club have done well. They've not took any messing about. Whatever it was, there's been an issue on his side. We'd agreed a deal. He'd done his medical, so whatever happened and whatever went wrong was on his side, either him or his agents, and fair play to the club for sticking it to them. Richard Waite says, who's Loriente? So Armand Loriente, 2 seconds, I'll just put this on here if I've still got I haven't got the thing. There. So Armand Loriente was the one who he was playing for Sassuolo in Italy. Centre forward, goal scoring midfielder, can play centre forward as well on the wings. Agreed a deal, 17.5 million quid. He flew across to Portugal at the weekend to watch the lads play against Seville, and then at the last minute, we have pulled out of the deal based on what I don't know. What went wrong? I didn't know what went wrong. Fred Holmes, it was this morning when I texted you on one of your shorts. Oh, sorry, mate, I didn't say that. I must have been at work and missed it, mate. I do apologise, Fred. It was this morning. Good stuff. Jim N, I think the agent tried to get extra money for himself rather than any other cause. You're probably right, 100%. That's what these agents are for. Steve SM, I will take 17th by a goal difference of 1 now to stay up. Kane Joey, just subscribe, and thanks, mate. I do appreciate it. Buzzing, you know, on that road to 5,000, and the more we can get, the quicker we'll get there. And it's really, really appreciate that you're liking the content, and that everybody else on here, if you are liking the content, you're not subscribed, please just hit that little subscribe button. It'll cost you now, it's free, and it'll get us to promote it to everybody else out there, and we'll try and get as many subs as we can. People seem to be enjoying the content and the live, so you know, we'll keep doing them. Coffee Goblin says Loriente deal could come back on later in the summer. I'd be surprised if it did. Maybe if he gets rid of his agents, if it was his agents. Ian Brown, to be honest, I didn't want Loriente. He excelled in League 2 Italy, but was average in the Serie A. I mean, out of all the signings that we were going to get, he's probably the one that I was least excited about. I'm not just saying that because we didn't get him, but that was genuinely the case. Richard Waite, Decoria, Abdul Decoria is the one I've been beating around for weeks and weeks. I think he'd be a hell of a signing. 32. That experience in midfield with Everton, Premier League experience, big, strong, gets around the pitch, is a threat from set pieces as well. So he'd be a cracking signing as well. I wouldn't be adverse to getting that one done. Stephen Martin, failed medical, I got told. Possibly it might have been. Like I say, we'll never get another full story, I don't think. Mason Smith, I don't see any recollection between the club and Loriente, and me neither. Richard Waite, I was being sarcastic. Oh, sorry, mate, my mistake. Ian Brown, Leverkusen won 20 million euros for Xhaka. He's getting held hostage by the club. Well, if that's the case, then they're going to have an unhappy player on their hands, isn't there? And nobody wants that because it just disrupts the whole club. So what will probably happen is if that's the case, it'll drag on, and it'll go into the last few weeks of the window, and then they'll sell him. It's just stupid. If he wants to leave, you might as well sell him. Like the Job situation with us. If Job had made his mind up that he wanted to go into Borussia Dortmund, then what's the point in keeping him? There's no point keeping unhappy players at the club. If they want to go and you get the best deal for the club, let them go. Let them go. Coffee Governor would take 17th alphabetically. Yeah, so for that. The Bristolian Macam, hope you're well. Xhaka will be a good signing. I am, mate. Hope you're well too. Good to see you in. Michael Batty, they should let Loriente come with a pay cut if he sacks his agent. Aye. Make him train with the reserves as a start, being naughty. And Tim the Minion, any more free transfers available? Aye, well, there's probably loads. I think somebody didn't like when I put Ben Mee in as one of my selections about saying I was being stupid and Ben Mee come on, but he's got that experience. He's left foot. He's got that experience in the Premier League. I think he would still do a job, but there'll be loads of free transfers. I mean, and to be fair, we haven't looked at the loan market yet either. I think what you'll probably find is when we get to the last 2 weeks of the window, we'll start exploring loan deals as well. When some of these top 6 teams get all their signings done, then there'll be some players become available for loan, and I think we might step in and we might nab a few of them players as well, like fringe players from them top 6 teams. And like we said earlier, if we do get Xhaka, then that can only benefit that situation, because players will want to come and play with the likes of Xhaka. He's got that respect and will command that respect. Mason says, when do you think we'll enter the loan market? I must have read your mind there, mate. Must have read your mind. Steve SM, guys, it's free to subscribe, but only 99 pence a month to be a member. Where else do you get value from me like that? Wayne's channel is fantastic, so if you can, join, guys and girls. Well, honestly, Steve, thanks very much for them kind words. That's amazing. Thank you very much. I'm humbled at that. It's great to read, though, when you're getting that sort of feedback and them sort of comments. It's just, Max D in the channel, all worthwhile, and the effort and the time that goes into it, it's greatly appreciated. So thank you very much to everybody who subscribed and joined and become members and watchers. It really, really is massively appreciated. Chris Carter Jackson, regarding Loriente, Italy press blame the agents. Yeah. Danny talks Leeds. Hiya, Danny, mate. Hope you're all right. Smash a like and subscribe, please. Thank you very much. So I appreciate that. Same with Danny. If you've got a channel, get across to Danny and subscribe to him. And nice to have him in the chat there. And see, I know you've just signed Stack today, mate. So that's a good signing for you. He's another big player, 6'3", 6'4". Look as though you're going to be a big commanding side next season. So it's going to be a different Leeds that we're probably watching next year. Stephen Martin, I still think we should go for the store keeper. Victor Johansson, I think he's a cracking keeper. And me and John Ruddock have spoken about him many a time. He's impressed me every time I've seen him play. I think he'd be a great signing. Probably wouldn't cost that much either to get it to Stoke. So he'd be an option I would be looking at. Oscar Bob says Ian Brown. Like I say, these type of players, they're going to be. I think they are going to be available when the big sides are getting get their transfer business done. Then I think these type of players quite possibly become on loan. Like I know, was it Tommy Doyle went to Birmingham? Like that was a strange one. I thought he would have come to the Premier League, but never mind. Tim the Minion, is Mepham going on a free? I don't think so, because Sheffield United exercised the option for the 1-year deal. That's probably the reason why we haven't signed him, if I'm honest. They exercised that 1-year deal, which means that they can command a fee for him, even though he's probably got no intention of probably playing for them this season. So frustrating, though, that they've priced him out of that. Stephen Ollie, with Man City going after Trafford with their buyback, could Man City's second string goalkeeper be available? Just turn this light up because it's flickering in a minute. So with Man City going after Trafford, with their buyback, could Man City's second string go? Well, quite possibly. Is it Ortega? I think is it the Ortega you're talking about? And he's come in and done that wrong. He's done that wrong really for them. He's always done a cracking job. So if he did become available, then I'd certainly be up for that. Kieran Joey 85 now. 85 likes. Thank you very much. Thank you for keeping an eye on them and all. Kieran Joey, you do appreciate it. 149 watching. Honestly, unreal. Unreal, thank you very much. And Coffee Goblin says, apparently Edison is off to Turkey. Maybe he's I think there's been rumours of him leaving a while ago, all through last season, so that might be one. Danny's just said there, just signed Stack and Matteo Joseph's handed in a transfer request. That's going to be a blow for you, isn't it, Matteo Joseph? Any reason why? Is there something else in the pipeline you're not happy with? Is it lack of signings from your end, or it seems a strange one? But Leeds fans are not happy about that coming out. Stephen Ollie Shaw says Ortega, yeah, I think he'd be a good buy. Ian Brown says Burnley, Ryan Ortega was Trafford replacement. Aye. Will he get to Burnley? I think Burnley are nothing but to get relegated. I mean, now watch Burnley with the surprise package and surprise a few people. Us and Leeds will probably spend all the money, and then Burnley will be the ones that do the best. Be typical Solskjaer. Transfers just start to cascade down once the very top clubs sort themselves out. Then the releases start. I've just been saying, I think, we know the top six didn't do their business till kind of later on in the winter, didn't they? When then the big fees start getting bandied about. And our Man City have signed some players already. Like I said, Newry and what have you. But I do think there'll be some action in the loan market for us towards the end of the window for sure. And Danny Talks Leeds says Matteo or Joseph will be fourth choice. I thought he was probably one of your main players, was he not? I know saying that he wasn't the starter last year in the Championship, was he? So you're probably right. He probably will be fourth choice based on you get some other players in. So maybe he's not happy. Ian Brown makes sense. Leverkusen don't want to lose Xhaka. They lost Frimpong, Wirtz and Moai. Their team's been decimated in it. I think Frimpong and Wirtz gone to Liverpool for massive money. They lose him as well. That's kind of a big chunk of their team gone. Is that the Ten Hag influence? George Robson's just said Ten Hag has just said Xhaka not for sale. Well, we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think if it comes down to it, then players in this situation normally get the way, don't they? When they want to be away, it normally happens. I know people say that players shouldn't hold the clubs to ransom, and players hold all the cards now. I think if he doesn't want to play for them, then I think they've got to sell him. Why would, like I said before, why would they want an unhappy player on the books and disrupting everybody else? And Danny Talks Leeds says, no, we are after Muniz from Fulham. I saw that. He'd be a good sign. That was one that I spoke about for us. I think he'd be a cracking sign from what I've seen of him for Fulham last year. He looks decent. Coffee Goblin's back in and said, Ten Hag just trying to get a bit more money. They'll want the best they can. But like I say, as long as it's not stupid money and they not demand ridiculous amounts of money for them, then I still think we'll probably get the deal done. And Tim the Minion, Burnley have already bought a German under 21 goalkeeper. All right, well, I'll wait and see. The rumours of Trafford going to the Mags has been bandying about for weeks, even before the season finished. So that one probably will happen. I didn't read a report, if I'm honest. If you saw his antics at the weekend against Celtic, I thought it was tremendous bit of goalkeeping. Long may it continue. For me, they should keep Pope because he's absolutely garbage, I think. But that's just my opinion. Right, we've got probably 6-7 minutes just before we finish off. I was going to talk about Romain Mundle's injury. 92 likes. Can we get another 8 likes before we finish at 8 o'clock? That would be absolutely fantastic. 138 watching. So Romain Mundle, we know the rumours that were flying about after the weekend were that Romain Mundle had apparently left the training camp in Portugal. Apparently, he put in a transfer request. He was wanting to be away. I think it was on my stream on Friday where we had a good discussion about it. And, we were saying about getting a good fee for him. Turns out that he's injured. His hamstring's gone again. What a blow for the lads. It's so guttering. I think he would have been a massively important player for us next season. He's had an operation to try and fix this hamstring. It's a bit of a worry that these hamstrings, do kind of keep going. Seems to have hamstrings made of cheese strings, doesn't he? Unfortunately for the lad. I hope this operation fixes it, and I hope he comes back stronger and fitter. But unfortunately, that's kind of knocked him. He's going to be way down the pecking order, and it's going to take him a while to come back and get fit, ready for the Premier League. So it's really is a blow. I'm pleased he's not gone. If I'm honest, like I said on Friday night, I would have been happy to keep him and want to keep him. So in a way, I'm pleased it is just an injury, and we're not going to sell him. And our PSV and Monaco have been linked with him, hadn't they? So, but in the day, he's still our player. We're just got to support him now and get him back fit and get this operation done and dusted and get him, on the road to recovery. Coffee Goblin says, will Callum Wilson going to Burnley? Well, just shows you that the calibre of player that Burnley are going for. I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. Callum Wilson, another one. Talking about injuries, he's on the bench. He's on the injury table more times than what he's on the pitch. When he plays, he's a good player. No doubt about it. He knows where the net is, but it's getting him on the pitch. You've probably got more chance of keeping Andy Carroll fit than what you have keeping Callum Wilson fit at this moment in time. Ian Brown says they want 20 million for Xhaka. KLD wants him badly. I think KLD will get his own way. I think KLD has had a massive input with this deal. I think he's been personally involved with that one. So it's clearly that Xhaka is one of our top targets and has been for quite a while, I think. And I think there's been a lot of work going on in the background to get it done. So let's hope we get it done in the next few hours or a couple of days, and it's not going to drag on and it gets to become a long drawn out thing and we end up losing him. Let's hope we get it done and dusted and get it up the line, and we'll get him in the scarf pick sooner rather than later. I think he's in Brazil at the minute, with Leverkusen. I think he came off the bench for them the other day. They got beat at Flamengo under 21s, I think 4-5-1. So just shows you where they are at the moment. Danny Talks Leeds, come on, people keep smashing their legs for Wayne, top lad. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Danny. Great lad yourself. Cracking, thank you very much. David Jones, just on the like. Spot on, mate. Thank you very much. And Wayne's in there. Wayne Hutchinson, come on, 4 more likes if you can. 4 more likes will be cracking. I'll be absolutely over the moon to get that 100. Thank you very much anyway. Greatly appreciated. Ria Knight, are you still in touch with LU Soccer? No, I'm not, mate. I ended that probably midway through last season. There was a lot of, I'm not going to say there was a lot of kickback, but a lot of people didn't like the promotions on the videos. They're kind of, a lot of people saying we'll log in just to watch you, and I didn't really like that kind of promotion of them shirts, them Chinese shirts. I mean, to be fair, the shirts were decent quality, and they did have some sun and stuff on there as well. But I can see people's point of view. There was a lot of videos, a lot of promotions. So I decided to end it. I just ended it, and I don't even know if LU Soccer is still going. I have had some emails and some messages quite recently from other kind of Chinese shirt companies wanting to do some collaborations, but I've declined them. I think the channel at the moment in time is in a good place, and for me to start doing promotion videos for shirts and God knows what. I mean, I've had other. Would you believe I've had other collaboration requests for things like outdoor furniture and God knows what, which I've declined them all, obviously. But the shirt one was a nice one while we did it. But no, I'm not in touch with them, and I'll not be doing any more in the future, Ray. But if you want, I can try and get in touch with them if you want the details, and I can try and put them your way if you want. Richard, where Callum Wilson will be injured before September. Be have a fractured eyelash. Michael Batty, we are buying big, so when we hit the loan market, top players will want to come. Wise move by the club. Yeah, totally agree. Danny, are you on with Matty? No, I've just been saying earlier that I had a discussion with Matty earlier on today, and we thought with the Euros being on tonight, the Women's Euro semi-final, and there wasn't really a great deal to talk about from Leeds that we're going to miss this week, and we're going to do next week on my channel. So we definitely will be on next Tuesday, but we decided just to knock tonight on the head, just because of the timings, and maybe there wouldn't be that many people watching with the Women's Euros on. Paul Graham, just liked it, Wayne, mate. Thank you very much. 104. Thank you very much. 104. Buzzing. Done it. Thanks, Danny. Appreciate it, mate. T-Mac, another great chat, especially for us exiles. Off to watch the ladies. Thanks, Wayne. Look forward to the next chat. Cheers, T-Mac. Enjoy the match. Let's hope we can beat the Italians and get it done and get it in another final. And Steve SM, stick to club merchandise. I do actually. I am doing a collab with Fanatics. I do put the Fanatics list links in the chat, but there's nobody picked up on them. I didn't really promote that much because there's like I say, I didn't like doing promotion stuff too much. I like just to talk about something and come on without having the interruptions of of this, kind of promote this shirt and promote that shirt, and I subscribe to these, and that's not like just not for me. It was good when I first started the channel off, but for where the channel is now, I think it's just better. I'm in a better place, and I just didn't need to do it really. Last couple of comments. Eintracht Frankfurt have made 200 million on players that they have bought for a combined price of less than 20. I think that's the model Sunderland are trying to achieve. Well, I was spoke about this last week. The likes of Job, Clark, Tommy Watson. That's the way the model works. That's what we're doing, and that's how. Get your patio done, Wayne. Cheers, Tim. Nice one. Nice one. Cracking comment. Anyway, it's 7 to 8 o'clock. The Women's Euro is just going to be kicking off, so I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in. I'm massively, massively humbled at how many tuned in and subscribed and liked. I'm buzzing. I couldn't be more happy. See, I'll probably be doing one of these next week as well. Just keep them ticking now, and I think we'll get more involvement. It's great to have the banter in the chat. It's great to see everybody involved. I know the videos are nice as well, but the instant reaction we can get on the lives, I think, is better. They'll compensate the match reviews and the previews massively well. But that's pretty much it from me. Like I say, you can go and watch your Euros and your and let's hope England ladies can get it done. However, lasses, let's go and get it done. And thanks for watching. Take it easy. Stay safe. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Stick your comments, and even if you're watching this after the stream, and we'll see you in the next video. Ta-ra.
Sunderland's where we live and fight with pride.